That is amazing. Whew. All right. How are we doing? Hello, everyone. I don't know why I don't ever do this before. How many people we got in here? Let the chat fill up a little bit. I can't, with the backwards, man. It's so confusing. All right. Like in the morning in that day, I like that. Spirochete, is that what it is? Spirochete. All right. Sprocket. Got it. Sprocket. All right. I was like, I'm not going to give them a tick update, but it seems like you want one. Feeling okay for the last couple of days. I think I was having, this is going to drive me nuts. I think I was having issues with killing off too much of the parasite. What's that called? Herxing. And so I slowed down on the 5,000 things I was taking, and it got a lot better. My brain feels pretty good. I'm probably overdoing it because I'm going to be, Mark's getting in an hour, and then we're drive to Nashville for the next 3 days. So I needed to get all my work done. I did a really cool energy. I got an energy healing from someone in the community yesterday who I want to have on the podcast. I got to get a Patreon episode done. I keep trying and it keeps not happening. So, you guys have any questions about this week's episode? I forgot my notes. Should I go grab my notes? Do y'all want to talk about voting for a second? I shared something in the Facebook group. I feel like you guys are all in the Facebook group, but my 2 cents that nobody asked for on voting. I don't think voting works. I don't think it's worked in a long time. I don't think it's worked in my adult life. I think the system is rigged, and I think it's an illusion of choice. My biggest issue with voting is that it triggers complacency, especially in an election year. So I feel like since June, a lot of people have used, we have to make sure to vote him out as like a way to not do anything. I just think it's an illusion of choice. Obviously, one candidate is fucking worse than the other. But like, I think it's especially rigged this time. That said, I'm going to do it anyway. And part of that comes from compassion. Like, there are people that I care about that really believe that it matters. And like, a lot of people in this community still believe that it makes a difference. And it just feels to me personally, I'm not telling anyone else what to do. It like, because it's such a small, you know what I mean? It doesn't cost me anything. Um, it, I don't know, from like the perspective of people who still believe in it and are still hoping that it's something that will help, it just feels like a fuck you kind of, especially as someone with privilege, you know, and especially considering the stats on how Trump got voted in. Um, I haven't always seen it that way, and that's just kind of how I feel right now. I also feel like, um, yeah, it just doesn't. It's kind of how I feel about masks. I actually don't have a strong opinion on masks, but I just don't think about it because I'm like, it's a small thing. So it's just fucking, it brings peace of mind to other people. So I just don't think about it that much. I do have strong opinions about voting, and Black Netter put something up pretty interesting today on Instagram if you follow him. I'm of that camp. I'm of the camp that it is an illusion of choice and it's not real and it doesn't help at all. And I think politics is theater and meant to trigger us and make us not realize that we are actually the gods with all of the power. So I believe all of those things, and also I'm going to vote because I think for the people that it feels like that's where their hope is hung, I think that it, like, I don't know, it just feels like a fuck you to them. For me personally, and I have friends that aren't going to do it, and I'm not going to judge those friends. But for some reason, I feel like I'm supposed to share that perspective. My stomach is on fire, dude. I hate these fucking antibiotics, man. I have a feeling by the time this thing's done, I'm going to be able to eat pieces of spinach with a grain of salt on it. All right, you guys are very quiet. Are you guys not? Yeah. Yeah, I recorded next week's episode already, or half of it. There's a alchemy of energy that is going to take place no matter what. And how that plays out, whether it is you know, a rigged election, a civil war, a whatever, you know, there is a chaotic collapse that's going to happen, and it's gonna trigger a revolution in which people take their mind back. I don't think we have a president in 2024. I don't. It doesn't feel true to me, but you know, I thought COVID was going to be glitter, so I think sometimes what I see to be true is allegory. A lot of what's happening right now seems like a desperate attempt to stay relevant, and it just rings as desperate. It's a desperate show of power because the power is going away. To me, everything that's happening right now is pathetic, but I can like on their part, but I can definitely see how it could. I lost my train of thought there. Be open to whatever. Be open to whatever. Be open to a shit show. Be open to a stolen election. Be open to the internet. Like, I want to talk about all the things, the potentials. I just don't know how to talk about them in this community without people, A, thinking I'm pulling a timeline because they don't understand how pulling timelines works, or B, freaking people the fuck out. It's just nothing to freak out about. The government is collapsing. That's it. The government is going to collapse and it's going to be messy. That's it. Something doesn't just like die a brutal death and it be neat. And it's going to be great on the other side of that. It's going to be great. I also can't pull that timeline. we are in a shift between the ages, and typically this shift would involve you being wiped off the planet by Earth. And you are now surviving the collapse of the society that has run its course, but you are physically living through it. That can manifest as many different things. That's up to us and our dreaming. There is no going back to normal, and there is no version of this where the society that has already run its course is still left standing at the end of it. And what I tried to communicate, and for some reason so many people didn't get it, if the election goes to shit, it's because we didn't need the election. If we run out of food, it's because we're going to learn how to do like anything that goes wrong in the next 2 months, it's because we are getting a newer, better version. And for the most part, the people who are currently awake on the planet, are the ones holding the map to that. And that's it. But like sometimes we have to give up on our toxic relationship in order to realize that it was us we wanted to love all along. You know what I mean? Let's actually come back to that in a second. If I forget that question, ask me again in a second. Yeah, we're not going back to normal. I get the desire. It's scary. Yeah, voting doesn't make any sense. However, there's a lot of people that are scared and they just feel like this is, I don't know, they feel powerless and this is what makes them feel like they have power. Yeah, here's how you pull a timeline. Being afraid of it and then pretending like it's not there is magnetically attracting a timeline so much worse than going, oh, okay, I've seen 5 synchronicities in the last 3 days that there might be a food shortage. I'm going to take that as my higher self giving me a clue about put a bag of rice under this, like grab a couple bags of rice. Thank you, synchronicities. And I'm going to look at this right now instead of being afraid of it and fucking attracting it to me. I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to look you in the face, just like you do your shadow, just like you do your trauma, just like you do everything else. Everything you try to push out of your line of sight because you're afraid of it, you pull into your life constantly. How many times when you were afraid of intimacy and didn't want to look at your own fear of intimacy, did you pull the exact same fucking relationship to yourself? Get things out of the goddamn shadow and look at them. And that's what's happening right now in society. The government has been garbage. Your matrix programmers have been trash. You're now just able to see it in plain sight. This is our shadow work. This is our collective shadow work. White supremacy has been a fucking problem forever. I don't actually know history that well, at least 400 years. I think it's actually centuries. Maybe that's colonizing. The patriarchy, all like rape, like all these things have been drug out since 2012 for us to look at, but especially drug out since last year so that we can look at them, so that we can, like sex trafficking. 3 years ago, nobody believed, like 5 people believed that sex trafficking was something that happened in America. Now we're forced to look at it every fucking day. Why? Because we have to face it. When I was growing up in the 80s, nobody wanted to think about the fact that we were all getting molested. So nobody fucking talked about it. And that's how we got molested. Everything has to come out of the darkness, including the things you're afraid of. And I'm like yelling at you guys. You guys are like, yeah, we're on the $20 tier. We already know this shit. You cannot pull a timeline by looking at it. So the reason I talked about a food shortage is because I was getting sinks about it constantly. We probably lowered the potential for it by acknowledging it and having a game plan. Anyway, so I'm in a weird place where I want to be like, hey, here are some things, some potentials. The internet going down, social media going down, the power grid going down. Food, I think, is actually going to be 2021, and it's not going to be what we think it is. Natural disasters, obviously. I don't think this fucking election is going to go the way, I don't think it's going to go the way people want it to be. It's either not going to be an election. It's going to be, it's going to like, look now, for like weeks, I've been avoiding saying it on, like, he's going to steal the election. Like, probably. That's probably what's going to happen. It's just all the setups are there for something utterly chaotic. I don't think we'll know what it is. That's just what it looks like. We haven't felt like we were off of him continuing to be the president. We haven't felt like we were off of that timeline for any substantial amount of time, to me. I don't want that. I'm not trying to speak that into existence, but I sometimes worry, are people afraid that considering that as a potential, or asking their body what feels true versus what they want? Are you guys afraid we're going to create it? Because we're not, we're not. That's not how it works. You're way more likely to create something that you're like, this can't happen, this can't happen, this can't happen, this can't happen. You're in a collective, and the collective reality is different than your personal reality. All right. Ooh, fucking, my stomach is on fire. Here's a really good answer. Oh, hi. This is Julie. She's the resident mental health professional for the Awakening Orientation Department. I haven't seen you in here. Is this your first live? I actually never know who's saying what in the other chat because I can't read. All right. Okay, I do want to talk about this a little bit. This is why it's so important to start to trust your own voice, your own guides. Your guides are talking to you at all times. You'll get synchronicities of where to go. You'll get, your gut will tell you where to go. I didn't mean to point to your head because it's probably your gut. You would be fucking surprised how, if you trust yourself, we'll be fine. If it goes down, it's not going down for long. Is that not true now? The Galactic Federation has interest in the free exchange of energy on the internet. So to the best of my knowledge, if it goes down, it wouldn't stay down. But yes. Yes, there was mainstreams, and then everyone was fed propaganda about each other and kept separate. And the internet began this people hearing each other's perspective. Social media way amplified that. People started to get access to information. The internet collapsed Mormonism, Christianity, so many religions. Yeah, the internet is the equivalent of us joining a neural network and realizing that we're all part of one, which is why, like I just said, the Galactic Federation has some say as to whether or not the internet stays down for any extended period of time. So if it goes down, assume that that is part of the game. It doesn't feel like it would be more than a few weeks to me. Any of that stuff, power grid, internet, I wouldn't be surprised if it came back and, the debt system didn't have any records. We're about to just make it through these next 2 months, guys. Make it through these next 2 months. I swear to God, in 6 months, it's not going to be it's not going to be all the way better, but you're going to get it. You're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Just bear with me. God, that better not be fucking wrong. I swear to God. She hides in the shadows. Well, I just pulled you out. We have to pull the shadows out, Julie. Exactly. I'll tell you the thing that I said 900 times on this episode. I love how this is always supposed to be about last week's episode, and it just ends up being you guys getting a preview of this week's episode. You are the most powerful beings on the planet. Feel your feelings, get mad, punch the drywall, take to the streets, burn it fucking down. I don't give a shit. But do not believe that you are powerless or that these fucking systems will continue to be in control, because they are only in control because society as a whole was tricked into believing that they are the powers that be, and what is happening right now is them being taken out. Oh my God, my stomach is on fire. Yeah, that feels exactly 21 days is what it feels like. It would be a literal vacation for me because I wouldn't be able to work in any way. It'd also be a vacation for me paying my rent and a couple other people's rent. I had said Sedona now. That wouldn't be my answer. But y'all can meet in Sedona, and maybe I'll come swing by and say hi, but I'm not going there. Yep. Yeah. If we can't connect with each other externally, I agree with that. We'll find a way to find each other internally. Why is my stomach on fire? I put a lot of spice on my chicken. Is that I can't have spicy chicken now? Is that what's happening? That is also that I'm just going to spoil next week's episode, aren't I? The 7th dimensional download coming in is all about connecting to our bodies, connecting to the earth. So that makes perfect sense to me that we would get a head start on that. No. I have almond milk. Would that help? All right. So I think you should download to your phone, not through the app, download the audio. Your favorite, I think that's a thing you can do. I don't know. Your favorite episodes of Soberish this sounds like, use my content, for keeping your shit together in situations where you don't have the internet. So maybe a new map, have to manifest. I'm saying this like I remember what's on any of these episodes. And this one, learn how to take a hit. Don't abandon your entire belief system the second you take a hit. These hits in the next couple of months are just, they're great. I promise. The hits suck. I promise you. This is what I said in the episode. You ever have you ever been in a shitty relationship that really needed to end? It was toxic. You really needed to end it. It was draining your life force. And then you, right before you could tell them that you were going to split up, you have a good weekend. And then you're like, oh, fuck, maybe it's not that bad. That's what it would be if these people pretended to be decent. And I'm not talking about them as people, but if these systems pretended to give a fuck for 5 seconds, we would get complacent. We don't want to be complacent. We don't want okay, well, at least, I mean, I want like whatever. If we can have a fair election, and vote somebody else in, I'm for it. I'm gonna participate with you. I'm gonna do it also, but like, does that feel like that's how that's gonna go down? Does that feel like that's how this is gonna play out? Has there been any indication that that's the direction that anything is going? That's all I mean. Dude, I will give $1,000 to someone who gets a new mat. I won't do that. I'll give you an IOU for $1,000. Ooh. Well, that makes sense. I don't usually this is like heartburn, but in my stomach. I did put a lot of seasoning on my chicken, and I am having a really hard time eating. Like I'm eating a ton to try to like not be sick as hell from these meds, but Do you think I could touch my nose at any point for just like 5 seconds without it turning completely bright red? I also can't cry for like a moment without it turning into like a big bulbous, I look like a 60-year-old alcoholic. Oh, that's right. You sent me a message about that. And if I don't listen or read the message or respond the second I get it, and sometimes I'm not in the space to do it, it's gone. It's gone. Oh, I get it. Get better guides. I thought you meant keeping them posted. I need to update the guides and let them know. Dude, I'm on so many fucking probiotics, it's not even funny. I also wanted to let you guys know that I'm very anti-antibiotics. I don't think it's you guys. I think it's another podcast I did, but I got a lot of like concerned emails from people that I guess didn't listen to Mormon and the Meth Head, and I haven't talked about it much. I don't ever want to say anti-medicine shit on podcasts, but I am pretty antibiotic free. My kids, only one kid has ever had antibiotics, and that was because they got bit by a tick. Actually, it's literally the only thing I am pro antibiotic for. The only reason I took it for the strep is because I also, like, they were giving it to me for the strep and the tick, and by that point I had been sick for 2 weeks. My typical go-to for 20 years, I've not taken antibiotics. And that was my teeth all fell out. They all abscessed. I've had ear infections. I've gotten rid of strep throat. My kids don't take, my ex-husband, like, I don't fuck with antibiotics. I use garlic pills for everything, but you have to like catch, if you're going to like not use antibiotics, you have to catch things immediately. And I think if there's a chance that I can get rid of Lyme, I'm obviously still having an acute infection. If there's a chance I can get rid of it, like, I think it's something that needs like aggression. Yeah, I am, they were overprescribed to me when I was a kid for ear infections, which are not even fucking, like, they weren't even ear infections. It was swimmer's ear. And, totally unnecessary, and that's what I believe wrecked my digestive system. And then my digestive system was non-functional by the time I was 7. I've had to I've had, like, doctors couldn't figure it out. I discovered probiotics in like 2000. I figured out that it was antibiotics that were causing it. I stopped taking antibiotics and switched to garlic pills when I was 19. And I found antibiotics or probiotics when it was hippie shit. And I found natural cures for all this. And then I figured out that I had trigger foods, and I figured out how to bring my gut back into balance with no help from the fucking doctors who just wanted to give me pills to make me shit myself to cure my constipation. So I am not a pro antibiotic person. I know I've just been throwing it around all willy-nilly. Intuitively, it just feels like, and I don't even know if it's going to work, but I don't know. There's something about these tick-borne illnesses that don't feel, I don't know, don't feel like the usual thing. I don't know. So that's all. I am well aware of the price I'm paying and I'm going to pay for taking doxycycline for 28 days. It does feel as if it's helping, though. Yes, it's going to be all about the body, all about the body, all about the earth. I think if we do have I almost did get a prebiotic the other day. Another thing I was thinking about is taking the probiotics with the antibiotics. I backed off the probiotics a little bit just because I'm taking like a really, really intense dose. And I think it is maybe the antibiotics are just working on the probiotics I'm taking. I don't know if that's true. Anyway, I think if there's a food shortage, like that will be like what's going to happen is the earth is going to spin out of balance, and then the power is going to shift because it has to, and nothing about the old systems know how to live in balance with the earth. Does that make sense? So like say we're on a ship and the colonizers hijack the ship, but they don't actually know how to drive the ship. And so right as we're about to hit the glacier, they're like, oh shit, we actually can't be, it's actually shitty. I mean, it's kind of shitty, but, and I just am using colonizers as a the unconscious. And it's an interesting, like, end of the movie to Atlantis, which is the beginning of this. Like if you press rewind on what's happening, it's what happened at the end of Atlantis. I don't feel like I'm making any sense at this point. I know, right? Probiotics were hippie shit. They were pseudoscience when I started taking them. That's what when people say pseudoscience, it drives me nuts. I'm like, you mean the pharmaceutical companies haven't found a way to make money off of it yet? Me neither. Yeah, same. I feel like a lot of things just run their course. I take the fuck out of garlic pills. Like so many garlic pills you can't even imagine. They have to be the kind with oil in them, like the squeezy kind. Oh, damn. Thank you. It did start to calm down after I ranted all that shit. By October 1st, I feel like take cover is the energy, to the mid-December. January, like 2021 feels great, man. 2021 feels great. Something happens to where it becomes pretty easy to stop identifying with that which is collapsing. I just think that what happens is going to break our heart. Like those of us that are holding out hope in any way are going to get our hearts broken. And but it's going to be that nothing left to lose kind of thing. That's why I think it's probably, like the obvious thing is that it's around the election. But God, somebody did tell me a date, October 18th. So October, I have a lot of revelations, but I also have this like hang out, just fucking take cover, pretend like if you have the option of hiding out, fucking hide out. We might get locked down for some reason anyway. It's also part of the reason my stomach's on fire, I'm sure. Are you saying that God, that sucks. I see these fucking ticks everywhere, man. Yeah, the antibiotic allergy is hardcore. Oh, that's right. All the electronics will go down. Yeah, what is that? If the solar flash happens, that'll all happen as well. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it has felt. It's also not like none of this is like cut or dry. The cool thing is that like each person has their own map and their own ability. Like sometimes people will call me from like LA or California and they're like, I don't know, should I move? And it's like, I have to like, I'm projecting. I'm like, I would fucking move. But what feels true to you. I have, Dan Donahue's like, I'm supposed to stay in LA and do work, and outreach. And he is. And it's taking a toll on him. Energetically, it's very intense, but that's like what he's here for. That's what he's supposed to be doing. So, I mean, do what feels true. It's also not like, I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't, it's not like something's bad's going to happen to you if you leave the house. This feels like turbulence, and it feels like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, if you have the option to hide out, just hide out. Unless, you are Arsenal and need to be protesting or whatever. I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say. Hit pause on your life if that feels true to you. If you have the option to work from home. I think that there's a chance of the pandemic or a different pandemic being pretty intense at this time. Like, let's just wait out Mars retrograde. This energy is great for arsenal work. So if you are someone who does outreach or protesting or anything like that, this is great energy for that. Continue to do that. Oh, interesting. Hi, Dessa. And the staff of Moorview. I feel like I've lost my memory for, I think we're going from having a hard drive to streaming. I can't stop thinking that there are some of you who are only listening to the audio of this, and this new format sucks for you, which is probably not happening, but God, the amount of things that my brain finds to worry about is impressive. A vision I had earlier this year about the war was only going to be triggered if RBG died. He steals election, issues go to Supreme Court, he wins in court, the people revolt. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't feel... What it feels like is, some injustice, some great injustice that triggers like a mass death for a lot of people, mass, soul death, whatever, ego death, triggers, a revolt. By 2021, there's like death of these systems, but something happens, puts the parasites to sleep. I don't have it, just like it was fucking glitter. But like last year, how it was like death of the masculine, guilt, shame, all that. We're still running that concurrent because that work isn't done. We do not finish just because it's 2021. But sorry, I'm trying to sneeze. But there's some sort of clarity. I don't know. Not going to happen, I guess. There's some sort of clarity that comes, and then there's just something where it becomes obvious that we are going to win. The new world is coming online. Yeah, I mean, that seems like more likely than I've learned, like, people tell you what they're going to do, and it just is like there's all this talk about, there's already all this setup. It just feels like, I might be fading. I have not. I've had my brain for 2 days, and I have not taken it easy. I can't tell. Should I take it easy when my brain's working, or should I get everything done in case it doesn't work later? But so the only thing I committed was that when I get tired, I will relax. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Yeah, it felt pretty consistent with the energy that we entered into. I weirdly messaged someone about something to that effect, like a couple days before. Just like, here come political unrest moments. It's Mars retrograde. It's gonna be all right. And then that happened like the next day. But AIs, I don't know. I don't feel threatened by AI or robots. I think by the time we move into that technology, there's also a massive awakening happening. I feel like that's the thing that, like, when everything else feels hopeless, and maybe I'm privileged in that I have access to so many people, so I get to watch how many it is. Mass awakenings are happening right now. And when people are awake, especially awake into higher dimensional timelines, the stuff just doesn't exist. Like, you evolve to a certain point where you lose the desire to crush other people. You don't want war. You don't want to fight. You're not projecting. We look at the current state of being and we go, we're never going to have peace. Well, it's because everyone's unconscious. Everyone's feeding off of each other and shit. If everyone was awake people just don't have the energy for it. And awake people just understand the energy exchange, and they don't, it's just a different world, but it's a different world because people are conscious and everyone's waking up. That's it. Everyone's waking up. We have to play out these scenarios because we have to play out these scenarios. We came here just to play out these scenarios, these awfully painful scenarios. But looking at it and being like very like small, and sometimes when people say shit to me, like even the Supreme Court thing, I'm like, do you guys think there's going to be a Supreme Court in 3 years? Like, do you guys, like, that's wild to me. It just, the credits are rolling. I don't know what I'm going to do if this shit still exists in 4 years. I'm going to talk about getting your heart broken. I guess it's a potential. We could all go back to sleep, but there's not much left. You know what I mean? There's not much left of this reality. So, I think don't underestimate the power of awakening. I mean, people are waking up so fucking fast right now. They don't even know they're awake. They don't know what's happening. My dad's a boomer. He woke up in like 3 weeks. He woke up in like 3 fucking weeks. And now he's like socially awake. Like, it's all right. Everybody's waking up. And it's just a different world without a ton of work. Like, we look at what it is right now and we go, how do you ever convince these people in these structures or whatever? Like, imagine waking up and realizing you're a fucking billionaire while people are homeless. Imagine being awake and knowing that. You know what I mean? They're just going to wake up and be like, well, fuck. And yeah, it's going to be all right. We're going to be all right. You guys are doing a great job. I'm going to try to put out a Patreon episode. I was so ahead of fucking schedule. I recorded one, but it wasn't good. I'm going to try. I'm going to be driving for the next 3 days. So I guess I could put out a bad one. I guess I could give you guys the preview of next week's episode and then get to the house and record one. I don't know. I'm telling you guys. You guys are the coolest here. All right. That's it. Love you guys. Talk to you later.